Welcome to the ancestrally rooted village. And I call it a village because I really want people to feel like they're a part of a real movement and a community of people who is really invested in utilizing their ancestral medicine and sharing that medicine with the world. Whether it is the world meaning just your family, the people in your community, or if it means on a global level. But you are invested in making sure that you know what your medicine is and you are utilizing it to create a healing, rippling effect throughout the entire world. I'm Dr. MoNique, and I'm thrilled to have you all here today joining me. And I'm glad that some of you didn't see my last message that went out late, thinking that we were starting in 30 minutes. I'm glad that you saw it and knew to go ahead and come here now. I also want to say thank you for those that invited their friends to join us. Thank you very much. Friends and family are always welcome. I love having them here. So feel free to invite them to the Facebook group, invite them to our messages from the ancestors. I'll be doing these pretty much every week for a while. We may miss a week here or there, but for the most part, we'll be doing them every week, and you'll know when we have one. So today we really want to set the intention to welcome the ascended ancestors. We want the ascended ancestors to come into the room and be with us and be a part of this experience. We want their love, we want their guidance, we want their wisdom, we want their resources, and we're welcoming them in right now. I don't know about you, but I have my candles on behind me. I have my water. I chose water, but as I said in my message, if you want an adult beverage, no judging going on here. Pick whatever you want. And let's just set the intention that the ancestors are surrounding us and they're all around us, ready to support us and ready to walk this path and this journey with us. In today's session, we'll talk about the karmic stories that impact our abundance and our businesses. I'll answer some of your burning questions about anything that you want to talk about in terms of ancestors. So you'll just drop them into the chat and I'll be sure to answer your questions. And then I will take you on a guided journey. And this is going to be a journey where we're having a reunion with your healer ancestors. You are going to be meeting with them and getting some support and help from them to help you on your journey. I'm excited. That's going to be so much fun. I'm also, I had a number of people say to me, well, how can I do more? How can I work with you? And I decided that I needed to share that with you. So I'll give you a little bit of an invitation tonight. If it's something that you think is, right for you, then come on and join us. If you don't, that's okay too. But I know it's going to be a powerful group journey. So I look forward to sharing it with you because I'm so excited about it. It's something new that I'm offering in a new way. And I know that many people that have done this program with me, similar to this, have had some profound experiences. So I'm adding that along with some new things in that are going to be extremely transformational. So let's begin by talking about karmic stories. Some of you may have heard me talking about karmic stories before, and these ancestral karmic stories are stories that are passed down from generation to generation to generation, and then they hit us. And some of these stories are empowering. They create courage and resilience and real wisdom. And then some of these stories can really prevent us from having the abundance that we want in our work, in our business, in our lives. And so that is why we want to learn about them and then work with them to try to heal them. So there's several types of family stories that create ancestral wounds and business blocks and abundance blocks. And so a couple of those are family patterns. Okay, so these are the behaviors, beliefs ingrained in us from our family. I'll make sure that we mute everyone there. So these are the stories that are ingrained in us from our family. For example, the notion that money is the root of all evil can create subconscious blockages to financial success. And then we have financial blockages. Perhaps your ancestors were faced poverty or had some financial struggles, and these experiences can manifest in limiting beliefs and fears around money. And then we have the emotional wounds. And these are traumas such as feelings of unworthiness, fear, failure, and they can be inherited and impact your ability to thrive in your business. So imagine a family where generation after generation, people struggled with money. This financial difficulty can create powerful narratives that influence how the descendants of that family perceive and handle wealth. By identifying and healing these stories, what it does is it helps us break free of these limiting beliefs and these limiting patterns. Now, remember, these stories don't have to be our destiny. This may have been what happened in our family lineage, but it doesn't necessarily have to be something that we continue to carry with us. These stories can stop with us. They can end with us. We can release them now. So those are some of the ways that the stories are, passed down from generation to generation. I've had the honor of connecting with ancestors of over 1,000 people worldwide. And I have documented my connections with people, the stories that they're dealing with, and what I see is most common in different parts of the world. And what I discovered is there are 8 common karmic stories that are found in almost every family. Now, some are more prevalent than others, but there are stories that I hear my clients talk about, or when I'm connecting with their ancestors, I'm receiving these stories. And I realize that these 8 stories really are the foundation for all of the other karmic stories that we have in our family lineage. And the 8 karmic stories are abandonment, abuse, anger, betrayal, fear, grief, scarcity, and shame. So some of you may be wanting to write those down. So I'll say them again: abandonment, abuse, anger, betrayal, fear, grief, scarcity, and shame. And you're more than welcome. If you feel like you want to, you can, drop a message in the chat and say, you know what? I've experienced some of those. Let's talk a little bit about how these karmic stories impact you. Well, we're going to talk about really 5, because these are the 5 that have the most impact on your business. And these are the 5 that can impact your relationships too. And of course, our business is relationships. So these are 5 that actually impact your business, but also your relationships. Abandonment. What I have found is if there is a high level of abandonment in a family, then people begin to show up in different ways around their goals. They may abandon their goals. They may set goals that are way too high and create a system of failure for themselves, or they may create goals that are easy to achieve, never really getting to the desires that they have. Abandonment can show up in many ways. It can be abandonment where someone, walked out on you. It could be abandonment from death. It could be abandonment of love, abandonment of resources. There's many ways that abandonment can show up. In my family lineage, on both sides of my family, my grandmothers lost their mothers at a very young age. They were 4 or 5 years old when they lost their mothers. That's a form of abandonment. It wasn't abandonment by choice. It wasn't that somebody walked out, but it's a form of abandonment. And when that abandonment begins to show up in your family lineage, it impacts how you create abundance in your life and in your business. And then we have betrayal. Fearful that success means more people will know who you are and set you up for betrayal. If you have betrayal that has shown up in your family lineage, then oftentimes you'll be avoiding it. You want to avoid it, which causes you difficulties connecting with people. You may sabotage a relationship before you get connected. You may walk around not trusting people. And in our business, there has to be a certain level of trust in order for you to be able to create abundance. And if you're worried about being betrayed, then what happens is you are creating an energetic block and not allowing yourself to connect with the people that you're here to serve and you're here to help. Betrayal can also show up if you're concerned about being able to connect with people that can support you with your business, not feeling like you can trust the coaches that you hire or the teachers that you hire to give you messages and information and the resources that you need in order to move your business forward. So you basically decide, I'm not hiring anybody, and you stay in the same place that you've been in, turning your wheels and trying to figure things out. So betrayal is another one of those that I noticed that shows up in business owners who are struggling. And these are people that aren't necessarily not making money, but when they've reached a certain plateau and they're not able to get to the next level, or people who really are struggling to even start. So it doesn't matter kind of where you are. These can typically show up, abandonment, betrayal, fear, scarcity, shame. Those are all ones that can show up no matter where you are in your business. And then there's fear, which I've talked about quite a bit. In fact, I even have a course on fear, helping business owners through fear, because fear is one that is common with spiritual entrepreneurs, specifically healers, but most spiritual entrepreneurs has a certain level of fear of not being good enough, fear of what others will think about me, fear of not knowing enough, fear that you're not going to be able to help the client. You name it, there are a number of fears that people are experiencing that impact how they perform in their business. And I see, like I said, I see it commonly with healers, where there's this fear of people knowing that they're doing spiritual work. And maybe it's because they have friends and family members that have, said things that made them feel uncomfortable, or they are fearful of not being accepted and being rejected by the people around them. And it's real. I mean, it can really happen. How these fears show up is different for different people. But when your ancestors, let's say you had ancestors that were healers, and those ancestors may have been betrayed or abandoned or abused, then those stories pass to you. And when they get to you, then what happens is you're embodying those, and those stories then form how you respond to things, the choices that you make, the decisions that you make, consciously and unconsciously. So these fears that these ancestors may have experienced around their gifts may be playing out in your life now. There's another piece here. We talked about it a little bit when we talked about astral ancestors. And what often happens is, if you have a number of astral ancestors who may have been healers or may have tried to do the work that you're doing, whether it's healing or some other spiritual entrepreneur type business, what happens sometimes is these ancestors want to protect you. They don't want you to experience what they experienced. And they're trying to protect you, which is not helpful, but they're not trying to hurt you. They're not trying to block you. They're trying to protect you. And we need to work with them to let them know that you're okay and that they can become ascended. And now they can work with you to do the things that they weren't able to do in their physical lives. So fear is one that really plays a part for a number of people. And then there's scarcity. We've talked a little bit about that. Money's tight. there's not enough resources, and scarcity can be a scarcity of opportunities. It could be a lack of resources, a lack of people around you. It could be a lack of money. It could be a lack of anything that creates scarcity. And how you respond to that scarcity that's in your DNA may be different than how some of your ancestors responded. But scarcity can have a real deep effect on your business because you may be holding beliefs and attitudes around money that are not allowing you to attract it, to bring it in, to let it flow. And when we work with the ancestors that have those money stories, helping them to ascend, and working with the ancestors that have healed or never had those money stories, we invite them in. We can invite them in to be our marketers, our researchers, our salespeople. We can invite them in to work with us to help us to overcome some of the challenges that we may have had around scarcity. So scarcity is another one of those karmic stories. And then the last one is shame. So there's shame, not wanting to be visible because you're hiding. And maybe it's because you're ashamed of what you're doing, or you didn't really, you don't feel comfortable because your ancestors didn't feel comfortable with you doing. Your ancestors were ashamed of something, or maybe you made choices. Maybe you made choices that you're not feeling confident about. And maybe your ancestors did the same thing. So you're experiencing some form of shame that is now impacting your visibility, allowing yourself to be visible and showing up in a way that others would be able to experience your work. So those are a few things that actually can show up in terms of karmic stories that people are experiencing and are impacting their work and their abundance and their business and their ability to attract new clients, but also your personal life. Because we enjoy abundance in more than one way. We're not talking about just money. We want an abundance of fun. We want an abundance of joy. We want an abundance of opportunities. Don't we all like an abundance of vacations, maybe? We want an abundance of something. So drop in the chat, what would you like more of? What do you want an abundance of? Drop that in the chat. Let's see what we got going there. Scarcity, money doesn't grow on trees. Okay, yeah, I heard that one too. In fact, we may all be able to share some of those that some of those that our parents have said to us. And I've heard the money doesn't grow on trees. Right, traveling, you working, you want more of that. Fun. Yes, absolutely. We want an abundance of something. And when we are abundance and confidence to step forward, yes. That's what I mean. Abundance can be more than just money. Abundance in travel and new business. Absolutely. And that's how when we work with our ancestors and we work with the ascended ancestors to help us create abundance, and we work with them also to help heal the stories that our astral ancestors, all those words, our astral ancestors are dealing with, then we can heal from those stories so that we can create more abundance in our lives. Great. I love it. Yeah, we want more abundance. Can you tell me which ancestors? Okay, yeah, we'll get to some of those questions. I'll be going back and taking a look at the questions. Absolutely. Okay. Does anybody have a phrase that you remember hearing when you were growing up, like money doesn't grow on trees, money is the root of evil? Do you remember any stories that showed up for you that your parents may have shared with you? Yeah, all the time. Yeah, Absolutely. If you think of any, just drop them in the chat so we can get a kind of a laugh and release them, let them go. We know that that doesn't have to hold true for us. And they meant well. I'd give you more, but we don't have enough. Yes, yes, there isn't enough. So it sent a message about there isn't enough. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I've heard quite a few of them as well. So that's the story around karmic stories. Abundance with more joy in life, happiness, and relationships, business, travel. Yes, great. Have to work hard. Have to work for what you want. We can't have anything we want without working hard for it, right? That blocks the flow of abundance as well, because what it says is the only way I can have the things that I want is if I work really hard and nearly kill myself to have them, right? And we know that there are many of ways that abundance can flow to us that doesn't always have to relate to us working so hard. Very good. Thank you. Thanks for sharing those. Okay, we've had a number of new people pop in, and we have just been talking about karmic stories and how these karmic stories show up in your family lineage and the importance of healing the karmic stories so that you can create greater abundance in all areas of your life. The most common karmic stories that we experience are abandonment, betrayal, fear, scarcity, and shame when it comes to our business. But the other ones that can show up as well are anger and grief and abuse. So those are the other three for the total of 8, but those are the other 3 that can show up as well. And I find that as I have worked with people all over the world, connecting with their ancestors, somewhere in the family lineage, all 8 exist. There's just some that are more prominent than others and are creating more challenges in the family lineage than others. Now, one of the things that people commonly ask me is, how will I know if these karmic stories exist in my life or in my family? Well, you can tell by some of the things that are going on in your life, what you're personally experiencing, taking a look at the different karmic stories and just identifying what have you experienced in your life, both when you were younger and now, that may relate to the karmic story. You can look at your family lineage. Look at the people in your family, and this can be whether you are looking at your birth family or an adopted family. Take a look at your family and what are some of the things that showed up in your family that are playing out now that may indicate that one of these karmic stories or all of these karmic stories are taking place in your family. Those are the easiest ways for you to do it by yourself. If you really want to take a deeper dive and really discover who are the ancestors that need help so that we can clear these karmic stories, if you want to know which of the karmic stories are showing up and creating some of the challenges in your life right now, then we can work together to do that. And I basically go in and connect with your ancestors to identify what stories need to be cleared and how to clear those stories, and find out from your ancestors what is happening with your ancestors that are creating these stories and allowing these stories to continue from generation to generation. Then I connect with your ascended ancestors to release those karmic stories and help your astral ancestors ascend. So those are some of the ways that you can actually begin to identify which of the karmic stories are impacting your family and impacting your life and your business. Okay, now's the time where I want to open this up for questions, because I know last time a lot of people had questions and I wasn't able to get to everything. And we may not tonight, but I wanted to just give you an opportunity to ask some questions, anything about ancestors that you may want to ask. I may not be able to give you personal information about your ancestors. That's not what we're really doing tonight. But if something comes through, I'll go ahead and share it with you. If you really would like to have more information about your specific ancestors, I'm going to share with you in a little bit an invitation to come and do some work with me so that you can hear from your ancestors and clear some of these karmic stories. So what are some of your questions? Not able to hold on to money? Yeah, that's another one that we see come up. Absolutely. You can drop your questions in the chat, and I'll also go over to our Facebook group too and see if there's any that are there. Sometimes those are a little bit harder because everything keeps moving. Let's see. Let's go back because I know we had. Yes, you have your candle and your tea. Absolutely. Candle and water. Yeah, let's drop in the chat. What beverage did you bring today? I stuck with water, but you might have an adult beverage. Who knows? Whatever you wanted to bring. Can you tell me which ancestor is with me the most and what they are trying to tell me? Okay, so that would take a little bit more. Let me see how we do with some of the other questions, and then if I have time to come back and do something more personal, then I'll jump back and try to do it and see what we get from your ancestors. Okay, let's see. Water for clearing. Which ancestors should I reach out to for the money issues? Yes. Water, tea over here. Water. Yep. Won't be able to stay tonight. Thank you for coming. Okay. Herbal tea. Nice. Water. Which ancestors should you reach out to? Okay. When you are wanting to create abundance, then request the support of your ancestors who allowed abundance to flow through them, to them, and around them always. Request the ancestors that were abundant. When we think about all the generations in our family lineage, someone at some point in their lived lives was abundant. But all of your ascended ancestors have an abundance. But there's some that are ready to connect with you and work with you right now. Ask for the one that, or the ones that are most in alignment with where you want to go in your life right now to come and join you. And it's as simple as that. You know, every Sunday I send out an invocation, and that invocation is an opportunity to invoke the healing power of your ancestors and invite them in. Well, it's the same thing. You can actually create your own invocation and ask those ancestors to be present in your life. If you are in a situation where you're getting ready to work with a client, or maybe you're sending out an email about something that you're getting ready to do, one of the things that you can do is ask those abundant ancestors to help create a flow of abundance of whatever the outcome is that you're searching for. And just begin to work with them and invite them. They may not show up with a booming voice and share messages with you, but that doesn't mean that they're not there. That doesn't mean that they're not helping you or working with you. It just means that you're not on the vibrational level yet. You know, you're not on their frequency to actually hear their messages, but you can definitely receive them. You can share them, and they know and can help you with whatever it is that you're looking for or that you want. Okay, let's see. Kevin has water. Nice. Very good. What other questions do you have? I have a few that I'm going to look at from someone that sent them in. Let's see what we have over in the Facebook group. Okay, I'm not seeing any over there, but that's kind of hard. Like I said, sometimes it's hard to see those over there. Okay, so let's see. How do you ask for financial blessing when you actually have the money already? Like, I don't want to seem greedy, but there's all these grants for artists in New Orleans that's up for grabs that people are not applying for, so they just keep giving it to the same people. Well, it's not being greedy if you're actually using it. And maybe you're using it to bless other people. Maybe you're using it. I mean, you having abundance and using it in a really positive way, not just hoarding it, but actually using it in a positive way, is not necessarily greed. It is okay to have an abundance. It is okay to have a lot already and have more. What is helpful is if you're using your blessings to help other people, to do something for other people. And that doing something for other people doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go out and create a program or something like that. Maybe you're creating art that is uplifting other people. And by being able to continuously receive this abundance, you're able to create more of it. Could be music, could be art, could be any of that. You're able to create more and more people are able to benefit from it. Or maybe you're offering programs that are helping other people, or you're making contributions, or you are being a model for your family members to show them that abundance is possible, right? And that you're maybe breaking some chains or some patterns that were there before. Abundance is possible. You're becoming a really wonderful ancestor so that it'll make it easier for you to ascend when you become an ancestor. But you're an ancestor in training, and you're doing a great job of creating an abundance in your family lineage. So you're doing fine. There's nothing wrong with it. And if there's a way that you want to spread the wealth, that's okay as well. If you want to help some other people, realize that these grants are available and help them with it, that's okay too. But it is perfectly okay for you to have greater abundance. When requesting your ancestors, how do you make sure they are of the highest? Okay, great. Basically, just call upon your ascended ancestors. Always say you want to work with the ancestors that have the most love and light and compassion. And those are the ancestors that you want to work with. Those are the ancestors that you want support from. Just continuously say that I'm working with my ascended ancestors that are of pure love and kindness. And that's how you'll be able to bring them in. And you just make an agreement that those are the only ancestors. You can even say, if you're feeling like, you're connecting with ancestors that are not of that light, you can even say, you're not ready for me to connect with you. I want to connect with the most loving, kind ancestors in my family lineage. So that is a fast and easy way. And then if we were to do work together, I can actually tell you which one of the ancestors, give you names, give you how they help you, what their expertise is, and how they can support you with whatever you're working on. So let's say you are working on building relationships. We have ancestors that can help with that. I can actually invite them in, give you information about them, and the different practices that you can do that will help to help you attract more of the relationships that you want. So there's different ways, right? I am. Thank you. Okay. Great. Thank you. You're welcome. If you have any other questions, feel free to drop them in. I ended up receiving questions by email. Where should I create my altar was one of the questions that someone had. You can put your altar anywhere you want. It could be a big altar, it could be a small altar. I have a small one behind me that is dedicated to my grandmothers. I have another one in my home that is for my father. I have another one in my office that's for my father. I have one that's for ancestors in general. You can create as many as you want, or some people like to create a big altar. And I know clients that have altars that take up a large portion of their room. It is completely up to you. You don't have to have an altar of any particular size. You can have an altar on your kitchen counter by having a glass of water and a photo or no photo, a glass of water, and then you are making an offering of some food or something, some flowers. Your altar can be big or small. I know people who are moving kind of from home to home, and they don't have an actual stable place right now. So they've created altars in like a box, and that box moves with them wherever they go, and they reorganize it when they get to where they're going. So you can have your altar any way that you want. Okay. What should you put on your altar? Some of the things that you can put on your altar I've already mentioned. You can put flowers. You can put um, anything that represents earth, wind, fire. You can put that on your altar. You can put, if let's say that you have a particular author that you really, really like, and maybe you want to be an author, you can actually put that author's book on your altar. You can place things on your altar that may have been passed down to you as long as they have good energy for you. I know for me, I have a beautiful hand made pot that my grandmother created for me that has butterflies on it because I absolutely love butterflies. And she knew that. So she made that for me, and I keep that. I have a pin on my altar that my father had created for me that's in my name, and I have that on my altar. You can put things that you knew your ancestors liked. You can put that on your altar, and then you can make offerings. And the offerings to your ancestors are things that they would have enjoyed. Food is one of the easiest ones, one of the big ones. Let's say you could prepare something that you knew that your great grandfather liked, or maybe you prepared a food that was a part of your family lineage, or a recipe that's been passed down, or something that you just like. You can place it on your altar. I know my grandmother loved chocolate, and I place chocolate on my altar from every now and then. My father, for whatever reason, enjoyed brandy and milk. I do not put the milk on my altar, but I do have a little sized bottle of brandy on my altar. I keep that on my altar. You can place anything you want on your altar that really reminds you and makes you feel connected to your ancestors. I encourage some people to put a surrender box on their altar where they surrender some of their worries and their concerns and some of the challenges that they're experiencing. They put that in the box and then put it on their altar. You can do that. I have a prosperity bowl on my altar where wherever I travel to, I have a few coins or dollars from those places, and I put them in my prosperity bowl, which represents abundance of money, but also an abundance of opportunity to experience other cultures and other countries. Be creative and have fun with it. There's not a real one way to create your altar. You can really do it any way that you want. The only thing that I caution you is don't put ancestors on the altar that you know that you don't like, or that were a problem in your family, or that you had a problem with. Let's not include them right now because you're wanting to connect with your ascended ancestors. You don't want to put photos of people who are alive. Let's say you have a group photo and some of the people in the photo are no longer with you, but some of them are. You don't want to include people who are alive on your altar. You want just this to be a honoring of those people who are now in the ancestral plane. So those are some of the things. Why should I create an altar? An altar is not a must. An altar is something that you can create if you feel aligned with it. It is one of the practices that I share with people as a way to create a connection, as a way to honor those who came before you, but it is not mandatory for connection. For some people, they just don't feel aligned with it. They don't want to do it, and that's perfectly okay. But if this is something in a practice that feels right for you, one of the things that it does is it helps you to let the ancestors know that you are open to receiving their support and guidance. I even tell people to, maybe write down a goal or a dream or something that you have, write it on a piece of paper, and then place it on your altar and ask the ancestors to support you. There are many ways that you can use your altar if it feels right for you. Okay, let's see. And then the last question that I have here is, this person would like to connect with their mother and father, and they feel like they've been coming through, but they're feeling like, could it be a hallucination? And what I will say is, it is not uncommon for our parents to reach out to us, to our ancestors to reach out to us, oftentimes in our dreams. When we're dreaming, sometimes the ancestors will reach out to us. And that is where they find oftentimes the easiest connection with us. If those dreams are really pleasant, then those ancestors have probably ascended. If those ancestors make you wake up and you feel very conflicted and fearful and they were disturbing, then it could be that the ancestor is really trying to work their way through the ancestral plane and ascend. But those ancestors find it easier to connect with you while you're sleeping. So just start to pay attention to the messages and to the signs and the symbols that the ancestors are showing to see if it's actually your ancestors. And you can ask them, you can say to them, what do you want me to know? And show me a sign that helps me know that it's you. So that's one of the other ways. Okay, let's see. What about someone who passed by suicide? Yeah, if someone is passed by suicide, I would say you probably don't want to connect with them right away, because they oftentimes are more inclined to be dealing with some of those karmic stories and are hanging out in the astral plane. That's when I would say you want to bring in someone who's professional, who can help you when you're first starting. Now, if you decided to learn how to do this, then you would be able to easily know on your own whether or not it's safe to connect with them. Not that they're going to harm you, but they may not have the information that you need, and they may not be able to support you the way you want to be supported. And that's okay. And that's okay. But you want to just, be conscious of the fact that maybe they're not ready yet, even if it was a long time ago. So that's one ancestor that I probably would wait on and not connect with right away. I have seen my father a few times, but I couldn't any messages through. Every time he was quiet. Just keep working with it and letting him know this is a great way. Like with any relationship, we have to consistently build on that relationship. It takes time for us to be able to have a relationship with our ancestors. That goes to show that the relationship has started, that the frequency is starting to match, where you're able to realize that it is your father. Continue to work with that, continue to invite him in, let him know that, give me signs so that I'm clear about you, who you are and why you're here and what you're here to do and help me with. What would you put them on your altar? No, I probably would not put that person on my altar initially. I would connect with the other ancestors and then ask your ascended ancestors to help that person that may have committed suicide. What about pets? They have transition with pets are considered ancestors as well. Obviously, they're not your blood ancestors, but they're ancestors, and you're more than welcome to place them on your altar. Yes, you can ask to have an angel come through with the ancestor. Absolutely. You can have angels come through with the ancestor. You can have spirit guides come through with your ancestors. That happens frequently when I'm working with my clients. I'll find that there's an ancestor that is connected to a spirit guide, and the spirit guide will come through, and an angel will come through, and they'll even say that they're working sort of like as a team to support you. And so it is very common to have ancestors that are connected with angels and spirit guides come through and help you. I've had many dreams of my maternal grandmother. We always seem to speak telepathically. Nice. I like it. Continue working with it. Continue inviting her in to share with you. Beautiful. Okay, well, I think we want to get on. I want to quickly tell you about this invitation that I have for you. So I think that's all the questions that we have over there. Let me just make sure that I haven't left any over here. Okay. I want to share this with you just before we go into our meditation, because when we go into our meditation, I want you to just really be there. And after we're finished, having a moment with yourself to take some notes and to just jot down what you experience. So let me tell you a little bit about the invitation that I have for you. It is an 8-week program designed to help you clear ancestral karmic stories like the ones that we've talked about today. But instead of just the 5 that we talked about that impact your business in abundance, we will clear all 8. So we will focus on all 8 of the karmic stories. We'll work on one karmic story a week. But here's the beautiful part. You don't have to do a thing. You have to do nothing. The only thing that you have to do is set the intention that we're clearing the karmic story. And every Monday, I will do a remote healing, connecting with your astral ancestors and your ascended ancestors to elevate the astral ancestors and help them become ascended. And then check in with the ancestor that most need the healing on that particular karmic story. So each week on Monday, we'll focus on one karmic story for the entire week. And then you'll receive a guided journey, about 5 to 10 minutes. You can do it once a week. You can do it all the time, whatever it is that you want to do. But what this will do is it continues the healing and starts to create a connection for you where you're connected with your ascended ancestors. It starts to help you be able to really let them know that you are open and ready to connect with them. It also empowers you to continue the healing that we're working on remotely with your ancestral lineage. And then at the 4-week point, so after we finish the first four karmic stories, you get a one-on-one private session with me, and it's an ancestral healing session and connection with your ancestors. We'll connect with your ancestors. We'll see which ones still need some support and healing. You'll also find out about the ancestors that are ready to work with you right now and support you with whatever it is that you're wanting to create in your life. And you'll be able to know who to call on for what. Okay. So in that session, we will be doing ancestral healing and ancestral connection. And it is a one-on-one session with you and me. So that's at the 4-week point. Then you'll have continuous email and voicemail support. We'll have 2 support calls where you'll be able to come in if you have questions or you need help with something, you'll be able to come in and ask the questions. And that's over the entire 8-week period. So we go for 8 weeks, 4 weeks of clearing the first 4 karmic stories, a private session with me, and then 4 more weeks of clearing the rest of the stories. Now, that may mean that you can't do the session that particular week. Excuse me, that's okay. You'll have time to schedule it. You can schedule it anywhere after the first 4 weeks. And what that does is it will help you begin to clear the karmic stories that are in your family lineage that may be impacting you right now. And it also gives you the power to start that connection with your ancestors, not your astral ancestors, but your ascended ancestors that can help guide you and support you. So one of the things that you'll do in the beginning is set the intention of what you want to create. What is it that you want help with? What is it that you want to do in your business or your life that you're not able to do now that we can ask the ancestors for help with? So this is the 8-week program. The investment for the program is probably the lowest that I've ever gone, but I want to do this because I think it's so important for people to be able to clear these stories and move on to discovering their ancestral medicine, because that's part of what we need to do in order to be able to know what our ancestral medicine is and reclaim it and activate it and utilize it. We also have to clear some of those stories that are impacting us and causing us some blocks to being able to fully embrace our ancestral medicine. So the full pay is $249. The payment plan is $150, 2 payments over a 60-day period. So there'll be a 30-day period between each payment. So one a month, basically. Enrollment will start tomorrow. I have only 10 spaces available. And the reason why I'm only opening this up to 10 people is I want to be sure that I can work with each individual person every week to clear these stories. And that's why I'm leaving it at 10. That is it. We won't go any over that at all. The price will increase on June 10th, Monday, June 10th. So enrollment starts tomorrow. You'll have tomorrow and the weekend to decide if this is right for you. And if you have any questions, you can always send me a message and I'll be sure to answer it. If you know this is for me right now, you know it, and you're like, this is something that I really want to do, and you want to be the first to make sure that you're a part of that 10, then what I'm going to have you do, and I'm going to pop this into the chat right now. Okay, we already have someone that's interested. Great. I'm going to put, what I want you to do is send me a message to that email, Dr. MoNique at drmonique.com. Send the message and say, I'm in or I'm interested. Let's just put I'm interested. That way you're not having to make a commitment until you decide that you absolutely want to do it. What that does is I will be sure that you get the opportunity before I send out the bulk email to everyone, before I include everybody on my list, I will send you a message and give you an opportunity to sign up first. That way you can be a part of the 10 before the spaces fill up and before the price goes up on Monday. So the program begins on June 24th and it'll go through August 19th. Now remember, each week there is nothing for you to do. You're just receiving the healing. You don't have to stop doing what you're doing. You don't have to worry about sitting down or being, I will do the work to do the healing. The only thing that you may want to do is continuously do the guided journey that I'll be sending out, or it may even be an invocation. It may be a small spiritual practice, but it'll be something that you do each week that will continue to create this connection with your ancestors and deepen the healing that we're doing that week for that particular karmic story. Everybody will be doing the same karmic story. And then if you want, you can come to the 2 calls that I'll be hosting where you'll be able to ask questions. And then you have your one-on-one with me. That's all you need to do. The program is June 24th through August 19th. And like I said before, you can start scheduling your private session the week of July 22nd. Actually, we can schedule it before that, but we'll start actually holding the sessions the week of July 22nd. And you'll have till August 19th to actually have your session. I usually like to do it like in between because it just gives you a chance to ask some questions and learn about what you've already experienced, but you do have some flexibility. So if you're traveling and you're not going to be around, don't worry about it. You'll still be able to do your session. I'd love to have you in the program. I'd love to work with you. I would love to be sure that these stories are once and for all cleared for you. And I would absolutely love to help you connect with your ancestors. That's something that I enjoy doing. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and I'll take a look at them. And now what we'll do is we'll start our guided journey. So I'll just take a look and make sure there aren't any questions there. Okay. Perfect. Okay, let's go ahead and start our guided journey. So what I want you to do is just find a comfortable position. You may want to turn off your camera. You can, you don't have to. I think most of you have your camera off anyway. Close your eyes and just take a deep breath. And release. Just imagine yourself in a beautiful beautiful, calm, peaceful place. And as you walk through this peaceful place, it could be a park or by the ocean, could be somewhere in nature. You look ahead and you see a light. This light grows brighter and warmer as you approach. It's inviting you forward. You feel a sense of comfort as you move closer and closer to the light. Soon you realize it's your ancestors waiting to connect with you. They are inviting you to the ancestors' reunion, where all of your ancestors from multiple generations have gathered, waiting for you. And as you look around, you see ancestors from the place where your great, great, great grandparents came from. They're dressed in their native outfits. Their clothing is of that era. And you see them all gathered at this beautiful reunion. And as you look to your right, you see a group of wise ancestors sitting near a big, beautiful tree. They're relaxing under the tree, peaceful and calm. You even see some of them laughing. They're sharing stories. They're sharing these stories as they're waiting for you to arrive. This is your healing council that can help you with your own healing and with your work with your clients. As you approach, they smile and welcome you into the healing circle. They have gathered to answer prayers and provide healing to their descendants. They've been waiting for you to arrive for many, many years. They are smiling and delightful and excited that you've arrived. As you take a seat with them and join the circle, one of the members of your healing council hands you a healing tool that you can use with your clients. This tool might be physical, like a crystal, or it can be a thought or a belief about your healing gifts. Receive your gift from your healing council now. Your healing council invites you to work with someone in your life or your business that needs healing. You can share the name with your counsel and ask for support in helping this person with their healing. They may share wisdom or decide to provide the healing on their own. But this is where you can give back by asking for healing. You can even ask for a whole city, a community, a group of people, an entire family. Whatever it is that you feel is needed, you can ask for that healing now. Now ask your ancestors, your healing council, for help with something that you need. What do you need healed? What do you want more of? What support do you need? Ask them for their guidance and their healing now. Just feel their love and support as you ask them for guidance in healing any karmic stories that you're ready to release, and allow their wisdom to flow through you. Just be with them for a moment now. Take a moment to thank your ancestors for their guidance. And when you're ready, gently bring your awareness back to the present moment, thanking your ancestors for this time together, knowing that you can take your journey back to your healing council at any time. Well, welcome back. And you can now take this opportunity to just jot down any insights or messages that you may have received. Just take a quick moment to do that. And if you want to share your healing tool that the ancestors shared with you, then you can drop that in the chat. You're welcome. What was the healing tool that your ancestors shared with you? Heart of love and light. Beautiful. You can create an image of what they shared with you. You can write down what they shared with you. And if you do have an altar, or if you're creating one, you can place it on your altar as a sign of connection. Pendulum, yes. Nice. The first time I did the meditation with my ancestors, they had a wand that had crystals on it. And within the crystals, there was an abundance of some of the things that I said that I wanted, that was all in this wand that I could use to work with myself and my clients. It was pretty beautiful. I think that was beautiful. I was given a crystal wand to isn't that funny? I just mentioned the crystal wand. Yeah, a crystal wand. Beautiful. Nice. That's beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing the different it's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Energy to enhance confidence in my abilities. I put this on my third eye and heart. So much emotion. Beautiful. Yeah, they can give you something physical or emotional that you need. You can go back and do this at any time and connect with them again, and set the intention that there's something that you want to know, or you need some support with, and just go back and connect with them. Beautiful. Thank you for being willing to share. Well, that is our end of our night of messages from the ancestors. And I want to thank you for joining me. We've explored the impact of karmic stories on our abundance. We've answered some great questions. We've connected to our healer ancestors. And you have an invitation, if you want to take this work deeper, to come and work with me. And over the next 8 weeks, clearing these karmic stories for a very low investment. Normally, I charge a whole lot more for this, but I really believe that people need this, because I really want to support you with having a really deep connection with your ancestors, and to discover your ancestrally rooted medicine so that you can enhance your business in multiple ways. So remember, this journey does not end here. Continue to seek guidance from your ancestors always, and work on healing the stories that need to be healed in your life and in your family lineage. And once again, I invite you to join me to do that. Keep an eye out for the registration link tomorrow. I'll be sending that out. If you want to jump in and you want to be at the top of the list to participate in the program, then make sure you send a message to Dr. MoNique at drmonique.com and say interested. You can even respond to the email that I sent you and just hit reply and just say, I'm interested. Thank you for being here and for your commitment to your own spiritual and personal growth. Thank you for giving me the honor of taking you on a guided journey to connect with your ancestors and for sharing the wisdom of the ancestors and the messages that they had for you today. Thank you for being here. I look forward to next time. And if you have any questions in the meantime, feel free to reach out. We look forward to supporting you on your journey to ancestral healing, abundance, and with reclaiming your ancestral medicine. Have a wonderful night wherever you are. Bye for now.